Welcome to Monza, where the crowd are ready for today's action. And we hope you're ready to see the world's best drivers fighting it out for that #1 spot. It's time for the Italian Grand Prix. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest circuit in F1. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some closer action. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are 3 main things to worry about there, Crofty: positioning, awareness and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Perez, Fernando Alonso and Stroll, Ricciardo, Norris, Sainz and Pierre Gasly, Ocon, Leclerc, Sebastian Vettel and Tsunoda, Mick Schumacher, Mazepin, Nicholas Latifi and Kimi Raikkonen. Russell and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Great work. That's a new fastest lap of the race. This is your final lap of the race. You worked hard for that one. Congratulations.
So another fantastic victory for Red Bull today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy and to stay out of trouble.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves. The points that Sergio Perez earned today see him take over the lead in the Drivers' Championship. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Well, there was a lot of incredible driving out there today, Crofty, but if I had to pick someone, it's got to be Sergio Perez. Fantastic driving.
Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one. You can feel the tension in the air as we move into race day here at Monaco. It's a track that requires the full concentration of the drivers with zero margin for error. It tests their skills to the absolute limits, so no wonder it remains a fan favourite. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. The cars will climb around 40 metres up the hill, past the casino, and then descend downwards towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of the 19 corners at Saint-Devote, and don't expect to see much overtaking here today. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of Turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
Well, the throttle goes both ways, Crofty. You've got to have the discipline not to try and win the race on the first lap, so always be prepared to lift early and give those around you more space. Trying to be the last of the late breakers with half a dozen cars around you may pay off from time to time, but it's also a great way to lose your front wing.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hamilton, Perez, Pierre Gasly and Ricciardo, Norris, Leclerc, Sainz and Esteban Ocon. It's finally race time here at Marina Bay, and a warm welcome to all of you joining us for the action. The wait is almost over. It's time for the Singapore Grand Prix. The Marina Bay Street Circuit then has 23 corners, 13 to the left and 10 to the right, taking us a total of 3.1 miles around the landmarks of downtown Singapore. An average lap speed around here, just 107 miles per hour. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
But from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Perez, Lance Stroll and Leclerc, Norris, Sainz, Vettel and Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda and Ricciardo, Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Nikita Mazepin and George Russell, Latifi and Mick Schumacher. And now it's time to head down to the track. Welcome to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, which is the location for today's race. The cars are out on the grid, so let's join the action down on the track. We're a long way above sea level here in Mexico today, which could pose some cooling issues for the cars as they make their way around this 2.6 mile lap. 17 corners with top speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and watch out for potential overtaking into turns 1 and 4. And a warm welcome, of course, to my co-commentator here today, someone of tremendous experience and insight. It's the man himself, Anthony Davidson. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton.
Well, it was a really impressive lap in qualifying to get pole position, but are they going to be able to hold on to the lead into the first corner with so many quick starters around them? And let's see who's able to keep their tyres in that temperature sweet spot early on. You've got a great tyre warmer underneath your right foot, and the drivers need to make the most of that on the formation lap, lest they see themselves skating wide at turn 1 on cold rubber.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Bottas, Lance Stroll and Vettel, Ocon, Ricciardo, Leclerc and Yuki Tsunoda, Gasly, Sainz, Fernando Alonso and Norris, Russell, Raikkonen, Nicholas Latifi and Antonio Giovinazzi, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
Great maneuver. You made it look easy. Okay. DRS is now enabled. to car in front is 1.9 seconds. This is your final lap of the race. We've been awarded a time penalty that will go against our finishing time at the end. Great drive. We did it. Good job.
Red Bull pulling out all the stops today. What a great win. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win. Sergio Perez takes the position of points leader in the Drivers' Championship. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Yuki Tsunoda gets my vote today.
Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.